In a previous video, I mentioned that to be okay at comedic dialogue, you must first master normal dialogue. Here, I'll apply the concepts of conflict and subtext in order to craft comedy.
Do you remember when the wardrobe gal said to us, "Why can't everyone get along? Everyone should get along." And you said, "Because conflict creates comedy." And then you said to her, "We're getting along when you don't see us on camera."
Right, yeah.
Those are all nice, warm moments.
It's difficult to manifest comedy in your scenes if the environment isn't properly established. Providing conflict is a good way to help comedy flourish. If characters are not in conflict and constantly agree with each other, it'll be difficult to create good jokes that aren't clumsy or awkward. Let's first look at a couple examples to see conflict in action. In this scene from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Terry pretends to be an old lady so his detectives practice processing various people. The conflict is that Terry stays in character and is adamant on practicing the drills. Rosa conflicts Terry because she's reluctant to practice these drills. Amy conflicts Terry and Rosa by attempting to compromise between the two. She deep down feels that the drills are pointless, but obeys her sergeant's commands.
Oh, come on. Another drill?
Hello, my name is Adelaide. I'd like to report a crime.
So we're just doing one of these every day?
Not a problem. We can help you.
Adelaide Van Hoyt, 89 years old. Goatee, 6'3", 290 pounds.
Hey, this is a tight 240. Show Adelaide some damn respect.
Captain, we are done with the drill. The old lady confessed to a 40-year-old unsolved murder in Rhode Island. We filled out the interstate file request and remanded her to the custody of her daughter.
Adelaide has successfully transformed back into a giant man, sir.
We get a ton of laughs in this scene. The dialogue is super crisp and sharp, but imagine if there was no conflict and Rosa and Amy just went along with the sergeant's drill happily. None of the jokes would exist, and it would be a boring scene. Some things to keep in mind: just because characters are in conflict with one another doesn't mean that they hate each other, nor that they're enemies. In Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Terry, Rosa, and Amy are all friends and respect each other. Being in conflict simply means that the characters' views don't align. Also keep in mind that conflict itself doesn't create the laughs. You can still create jokes and laughs without characters butting heads, but conflict is the environment in which comedy thrives. By creating conflict, the jokes and laughs will occur much easier. Let's take a look at another scene, this time from Castle. Castle and Beckett have a very fun and humorous dynamic between them. Throughout the show, they're constantly bickering back and forth. In this scene, Kate Beckett brings in Castle's date as a suspect. Castle is frustrated with Beckett, while Beckett is simply doing her job as a detective.
The waiter was about to come out with the duck confit en croûte, Rocco Despirito's pumpkin gnocchi, not to mention the langoustine, the lavender creme brulee that was coming up, and don't even get me started on the wine pairings.
I won't.
I'm just saying, you could have been more civilized and allowed us to finish our meal.
You can watch from the observation room.
And now you're pinching me?
You were just giggling over the risotto with our suspect.
Which was to die for, by the way.
The cool thing about the scene is even though there are no real punchlines or jokes, the dialogue is still very fun and amusing. So we just saw two examples of comedy with conflict. What happens when we take away the conflict? How does the dialogue feel? Here I'll reference the new Ghostbusters movie. So this movie didn't deserve the amount of hate it received, but certainly has its faults. Consider this scene where one of the Ghostbusters shows up with a hearse. The rest of the characters are surprised, but none of them fight back at it. They simply go along with their new car and accept it.
Oh, yeah.
You get a car, and you get a car, and you get a car.
You didn't disclose that the vehicle was going to be a hearse.
I'm sorry, my uncle owns a funeral home, not an Enterprise rent-a-car.
Hope you checked to see there wasn't a body in the back.
I don't really know.
You didn't check?
I mean, I was in a hurry. I checked to see if we had gas. That was more important.
So there is a body?
Let Holtzman check. She likes that type of stuff.
Yeah, I can think of 7 good uses of a cadaver today.
No, Dr. Frankenstein. We got to turn in the body if there's one in there.
Even though there is no conflict, we still get a chuckle here and there. But to me, this dialogue feels flat and has no momentum because the characters don't have any goals that they're after. It kind of feels like the characters are trudging through the scene. We can see clearly that conflict creates comedy, but why is this true? We see conflict as negative and serious, whereas comedy is fun and lighthearted. Why is it that comedy thrives with conflict?
If you want to create comedy, all you have to do is attack a character's piece, make the character suffer.
I believe this question has already been answered. Conflict appears to apply very well to the benign violation theory. Benign violation is a theory created by Peter McGraw. If you want to learn more about it, you should check out his TED Talk. It's very entertaining. But to summarize, benign violation dictates that humor is manifested when violation to our morals, rules, or principles occurs, yet this violation is benign. Notice how right now, no one is laughing because the implied sexual act is a pure violation. However, this happens. Because the violation was actually benign, it suddenly becomes very funny. In short, jokes are harmless violations. A joke can not only be a violation, nor can a joke be only benign. It must be both. Humiliation is also a violation. This explains why if you humiliate yourself, it's not funny to you, but if someone else humiliates themselves, then it's funny because a humiliation is benign to you. In this clip of Impractical Jokers, Sal, who is yelling bingo when he doesn't have bingo, is very humiliating to him. This is not very funny to Sal, however his friends think it's hilarious because his humiliation is benign to them. Comedic dialogue through conflict is supported by benign violation, because conflict generates violations, creating opportunities for the humor to arise. If characters are not in conflict, then the environment of the scene generates no violations, leaving no opportunities for humor to occur. People use sarcasm, drop subtle and not so subtle hints. They'll lead you to a conclusion without actually spelling it out. They'll react passive-aggressively. They'll mask their feelings or deny them. This was written by Ken Levine on his blog, a comedy writer for MASH and Cheers. Subtext is normally associated with dialogue but not comedy. I believe subtext in comedy is still relevant. However, the importance of subtext is different for dialogue than it is for comedy. Subtext in dialogue is important for creating layers and building the characters, their dynamics, and the world around them. Subtext in comedy also acts to create layers, but subtext also preserves the integrity of the joke. Subtext in comedy means that the punchline shouldn't directly address the violation. However, it should hint at it. Creating this hint will allow a small gap in logic, where it is up to the audience to piece the joke together. In other words, don't give the audience 4, give the audience 2 plus 2. If you're having difficulty understanding the importance, realize that's exactly the same concept as explaining a joke to someone. When a joke is explained, it's never funny, because to explain the joke means to build the joke for that person. But the original joke is funny because it's presented in pieces. It's up to the audience to make the connections. If you don't have subtext in your punchlines, then you're essentially explaining the joke. The punchline cannot directly address the violation, rather it should hint at the violation, leaving a gap in logic. This requires the audience to assemble the joke, making it funnier. Take the following for example. Imagine one character is a lawyer in a wheelchair. The lawyer's friend says something like, "Good luck, stand your ground." After an awkward pause, the friend recovers with, "Well, figuratively." This is funnier than if the punchline was, "Well, not that you can stand." Believe it or not, I've actually seen punchlines that are really close to this. The reason the first punchline is funnier is because it takes more thought to make the connection compared to the second punchline. The joke would reward the audience members for paying attention because if the audience pays attention, they'll see the awkwardness of telling someone in a wheelchair to stand their ground. Then, if the character says, "well, figuratively," this would wink at the awkwardness without directly stating why it's awkward. When the audience is presented with the punchline, "well, figuratively," it forces them to piece together the joke. Whereas following up with, "well, not that you can stand," is boring because it holds the audience's hand through the joke. It's essentially saying to the audience, just in case you didn't get it, I'll make the awkward situation very obvious so you understand. It's pandering to the audience because instead of letting the audience put the joke together, you're putting the joke together for them. Notice also that subtext is subtle, yet integrated deep into comedy. It's something we rarely appreciate because it's seldomly noticed. Take this scene from Archer where Krieger has breath mint strips made with LSD.
to neutralize the Odin agents.
How the shit am I supposed to do that?
With Krieger's magic breath strips.
But don't touch them. Lysergic acid is absorbed right through the skin. Even the tip of your finger.
Oh, for sake, Krieger, you're about to do brain surgery.
Yeah, so sooner's gonna be better than later.
The violation here is that Krieger accidentally dosed himself with drugs. Krieger's line of "sooner is better than later" does not directly address his violation, making the line very funny. If his line was direct, he would say something like, "The drugs will kick in soon, so you should get started." By using subtext to hint at the violation, rather than directly addressing it, we leave the joke in pieces, forcing the audience to put the joke together. If we address the violation directly, we piece the joke together for the audience, essentially explaining the joke and making it not funny. Subtext in comedy does more than create humor itself. Let's consider another example. In this case, we have two characters, Jim and Nancy, who are exploring a greasy, stinky back alleyway behind some buildings. Jim slips and falls into a puddle and asks Nancy to help him up. This is already a humorous situation, but how Nancy responds will either hurt or help the humor. Nancy could say, "No way, you're filthy, I don't want to touch you." But it'd be funnier if she shakes her head and says something like, "I'll need my tetanus shot first." Why is the second line so much better? Not only does it present the joke in pieces, but it's also a descriptive way of showing how disgusting Jim is. In the first sentence, it's telling us that Jim is disgusting. It really comes back to the axiom of show don't tell. Subtext in comedy tends to show us the feelings and emotions of the characters better than no subtext. No subtext is very telling. This is why, when you're writing for comedic dialogue, it's always better to have subtext. Because even if the joke doesn't land, at least you're showing the audience the character's emotions, rather than telling the audience. Hey guys, I hope my video on applying the concepts of dialogue to comedy was helpful for you. I don't care about making money on my videos, but I am promoting my current work in progress called Empty Vessels. My novel's website is in the description below. Please check it out and subscribe to my email list. I greatly appreciate every person that signs up because it will make me much more attractive to agents and publishers. Again, I hope my video was helpful for you. Feel free to ask questions in the comments or email me at n.fletch.williams@gmail.com. Thank you.